everybody. Welcome back to Snack Chats with TLB Nutrition Therapy. I'm Sarah, and today I am here with Tabitha. Tabitha, how are you? Introduce yourself and tell us about your role at TLB.
Yes, thanks, Sarah. Okay, I'm Tabitha. My role at TLB, so I see clients, so I do, nutrition counseling and therapy. And I also am in a lead dietitian role as the program development assistant. And so what that usually entails is helping with new hires, developing training materials to kind of better everybody's education at the practice and a few other things too. It's an evolving role, but it's so fun to get to work with new dietitians, not necessarily new to the field, but new to TLB, to welcome them, to introduce them, and try to give them the ropes. So it's fun.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. And how did you get started at TLB? Like, what brought you to TLB? And then how did you kind of evolve into the PDAP role?
Yes. Oh, I love this question because I just feel so thankful for my path to be at TLB. So I met Tina from another person that I was employed by, Heather Kaplan. She was running a bunch of different businesses at the time. And I met Tina in a joint meeting, and she knew my philosophy had aligned with hers and kind of the nutrition work that we wanted to do. And so, yeah, that from there we interviewed and I got hired. And this was right out of my graduate program that I was in Virginia, Blacksburg, Virginia. And then, bam, I was at TLB learning, growing, and I worked with clients exclusively for, I think, 3 to 4 years. And then the PDAP role kind of came about because I love admin. So I like to be a squeaky wheel with things like organization. It just helps my flow better. And so I learned over time at TLB kind of how to make my flow more efficient, to make my client sessions more present, and also to make my work easier in terms of charting and all the things that we do behind the scenes. And so I've got a baby here, so hopefully she doesn't wake up while we talk. Um, but yeah, so my role eventually evolved into PDAP just because of the things that I really enjoyed doing in addition to client work. And yeah, that's kind of how PDAP came about. And it's been such a fun role for me, and I'm really excited to see how it grows over time.
Yes, that's amazing. Awesome. When you're doing client work, what are some client populations that you feel really strongly about, you really enjoy working with? What are like some nutrition topics you love? Yeah, give us the lowdown on all of that.
Yeah. Okay. So I think one of the biggest, I mean, this is a topic that definitely can change depending, but I really love to address like what's trendy on social media right now. So that could be anything from raw milk to like fiber maxing, right? There's this spectrum of trends. So I love like hot topics like that. That's kind of a fun side fact, but I do enjoy that in session. I really like working with chronic illness. I think it has a unique difficulty in the longevity that you're kind of experiencing it, and just requires a lot of persistence for the individual going through it. And so I love that population. Chronic illness. I have type 1 diabetes myself, which is definitely why I came into this work in the first place, and also why I love working with chronic illness populations, PCOS, type 1, Hashimoto's. I mean, you name it, kind of in that hormone spectrum. And then I also really love to work, understandably, with pregnancy and postpartum. I have been, pregnant and making milk for like almost 4 years now because my kids are close in age. And so I also really enjoy that population because I'm living it, feeding, baby-led weaning. Obviously, there's certain things that are within the scope of an IBCLC when it comes to like the actual baby and milk, but in terms of nutrition for mom, or the parent rather, who is making the milk. I
Mhm.
love that. So yes, and then also child feeding, and I would say I enjoy chiefly kind of 0 to 4 when it comes to child feeding. And then I think Marcy is a really great resource past that point for child feeding. So that was kind of long-winded, but I really like a lot of topics and a lot of types of populations. So, and my work is very relational with clients. That is something you'll find about my style, which is part of the reason I enjoy working with those longer term clients because I do really love to build a relationship with clients.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I love all the different populations that you work with. And, I know you're such a supportive provider and do create those relationships with your clients. So it's so cool to just see that evolve over time and like get to know your clients and see them evolve over time.
Yes, it is so special. It really is such an amazing part of the work.
Yeah. Are there, well, I guess, how do you support clients in their relationship with food and body? Like, are there any kind of specific approaches that you take
Yeah,
or, yeah, anything around that?
totally. Did I cut you off? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no,
Okay.
my sentence wasn't,
So, what did you say?
my sentence wasn't going anywhere else. So I myself off. I'm like, I don't know where I'm taking this.
That's too real. Okay, so I really do think it depends on the client. One of the things that I really like to do is gauge what is a client wanting from sessions before I take the approach that we're going to take together. So if a client doesn't want to know a lot about my lived experience or that's not important to them, then maybe we're doing not as much self-disclosure in terms of me and we're kind of just going along the process of education, understanding what brought them to this point in their relationship with food and where do they want to go from there. There are a lot of clients who lean either way. So some people just want good nutrition education, not
Mhm.
like good or bad foods. Obviously, that probably is self-explanatory with our philosophy, but robust nutrition education to help them move forward in making their own decisions. And some people really want to focus on the relationship with food and that side of things. And so I would say I kind of lean into whatever the client is wanting. I do think one of my strong suits and probably something that you'll get paired with me if this is a need of yours, is just succinct and thorough kind of structure. If you are needing help with eating at certain hours of the day or understanding what makes a meal complete. And obviously, we all do that work, but I do think I have a level of attention to the structure that sometimes is really helpful for people who are kind of just needing to know where to go and aren't necessarily wanting to do all the relationship with food work. And while I do think that work is ideal, exploring the relationship with food, where things came from. I find it really important to meet people where they are at. And so if they don't want to explore that, then how might we move forward together to give them good information that will help them, get to where they want to go in their goals and such. So that is kind of a little bit more about my approach. That was your question, right? My
Yeah,
approach.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So really just aligning to the client's needs and being able to, yeah, just like really tailor the counseling to the individual that's sitting in front of you. That's so important.
Yes. Which we all do for sure, but that's my approach.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, and what I'm trying to think how to ask it, but like what brought you into this kind of work in the first place? And by that, I mean that could be our weight inclusive approach, um, outpatient setting, nutrition counseling, chronic illness. So like really anything and everything that you work with, what kind of brought you to this work and yeah, made you interested in it?
Definitely. I think in short, I mean, I'll elaborate, but I would say in short, like empathy and observation. Those are kind of the two words that stick out to me. So I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 12, so I was young, and I kind of was introduced to the world of healthcare and nutrition at a very young age. And I think in that, I got to see how a focus on weight is not helpful to moving people forward typically when they're trying to make behavior change. This is, very nuanced because I do love and I one of the things the clients I love to work with are people who are holding the space for wanting to lose weight. That's understandable. I totally hear that. And a lot of times people are trying to escape the systems of oppression that are making them feel like the solution is to lose weight. So I don't want to say that I'm the authority on how somebody chooses to move forward in their body. But what I would say brought me particularly into the work was just seeing how recommendations from doctors really impacted the way that I viewed food and almost was, not almost, was ultimately negative, right? So this focus on weight brought about these nutrition behaviors for me that were not helpful. And I think I also then started to observe that just in conversations with people that I was having in my life, in my program at the time, at my school. I just really ended up feeling like this is not what is serving people. So I did a lot of education on it and, hence like the whole philosophy and the whole paradigm shift happened for me. I would say I went back and forth quite a lot, my own bargaining, my own grief kind of around how to approach this for myself and others. And, that's kind of ultimately how I came into enjoying that. Which is a bummer, right? To eventually specialize in something that you feel like you learned about because of a deficit in the field of how you were treated and how others are treated. But it also, I think, has like ignited a passion and allows me to really sit with people in that and help them really see how that is impacting them. And then they can move forward how they want, right? So I think that's a really important part of how I have grown in the work over time is really just allowing people to sit where they are and ask questions that are helpful for their own processing, their own journey, their own wisdom that they have related to their body. And then I kind of couple the information and then kind of go from there. So that's what brought me into the work personally and keeps me in the work. Like I really love just to be able to interact with people that are going through these processes that are super nuanced and complicated and often feel so messy. I mean, there's so much nutrition information out there and it is hard to navigate. Like I will validate that. Even I see stuff and I'm like, where is this new trend coming from? Where's the evidence? Like, where are we at with this, right? There's so much of that out there now and so many people who, pose as experts. But I really do think having chronic illness, one of the biggest things I've learned is that people do know their bodies, and typically they've been learned. That's maybe not the right grammar. They have learned to not trust anything going on within their body, especially with chronic illness, because typically people are encountering physicians who might say, you think this, but your body's actually doing this, or you feel this, but I don't actually see it in the labs. These kinds of things. This
Yep.
can be so frustrating for people. And so I think it eventually leads to a big disconnection with the body. And so, I really like to help people connect with themselves and their own bodies over time because your body will give you information, even with chronic illness, when it can feel so disconnected at times. And of course, there's space for needing structure when you feel disconnected with your body too. But yeah, that was long-winded, but that's what brought me into the work.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was just such a beautiful answer. And like you had mentioned, it is so unfortunate that you came into the work because of that deficit in the field,
Yeah.
and how cool that you get to kind of rewrite that experience for some, not rewrite it, but like give clients a different experience than that very weight centric advice that they've maybe received in the past that wasn't super
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah, I think it's really cool that we get to introduce like, hey, it doesn't actually have to be this way, and here's maybe a different approach. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just love that.
Thanks.
Yes. Well, let's get to know you a little bit outside of work. We've really focused in on, your nutrition philosophy and approach to counseling and all of that. So I want to learn a little bit about you and what you enjoy doing outside of work.
Yes. Okay. So this has evolved over the years, and you're asking me the question in like a unique time of my life where I'm like, what I do outside of work is
Yeah.
babies, But I mean, I have hobbies. I'm just in the thick of it right now because she's, 2.5 months. So
Mhm.
I really enjoy reading. I am totally a romanticy sucker. So like, yes, I am absolutely basic. Catch me reading the basic romanticy books literally all the time. Love that. I also love like books on family philosophy and parenting and how to kind of work through your own stuff so that you are not passing things along to your children that you don't want to, or how to create a atmosphere of being able to apologize to your kids, like all that kind of stuff. Self-help books, right? But for
Yep.
the stage of life that I'm in, love that. I really love movement. Like I really enjoy walking, swimming. I enjoy lifting weights, but very gentle. I'm not like a weightlifter, but I just enjoy getting to do things that help me feel functionally strong, kind of like throughout the rest of my life. I love cooking. And let me think. I feel like I love Halloween. That's an important thing to note. Like I love October
Mhm.
and everything that comes with it. I drink it in. So That's a little bit about me outside of work. And I have two kids and a spouse,
Mm.
and I love my family. We were in Austin, now we're in Virginia Beach, because family. We decided to move to be near family ultimately, and I miss Austin quite a lot, but I'm really glad to be kind of living these memories out with my family. So, yeah, and we're at the beach. So, water sports, boats, things like that are also things that we really enjoy.
Yeah. Oh, sounds like you're just living it up over there.
I
I,
am. I totally am. And it's not so hot. Oh my gosh. But it is hot here. It's just not like as hot as Austin. So, but I love Austin. I miss Austin. I come back often, you know.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. All right. And final question. What do you think you'd be doing if you were not a dietitian?
Oh
Any
my
idea?
gosh. I feel like this is something that I would have to think on for like hours, but what I'm going to give you is my initial answer, which is I think I would be an author or
Mhm.
I would be a baker, like own a bakery, maybe, potentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Frolicking, lots of frolicking. That's what I
Oh,
would be doing.
right. I'm
Yes.
just thinking bakery right by the beach. Like, that sounds amazing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. It was so fun spending time with you, getting to know you a little bit more. If anybody has questions, comments, anything, please leave them below. Um, yeah, and check us out in the next video. Share Tabitha with your friends, anyone needing a nutrition counselor. We're here for you, and we'll see y'all next time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sarah.